Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Take Time for You, Unlocking the Secrets for Self-Care for Busy Women. I am your host, Charity Murphy, and today I have the honor of having Angela Murray with me. She's a self-taught intuitive abstract artist and a creative adventurer. Oh, I love that. She is originally from the north of England and has traveled to New Zealand and is now living a very creative and full life in the Bay of Plenty. I am so excited you're here. Thank you and
Hi,
welcome.
lovely to see you. Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yes. So tell us about how you began painting.
Um, I was really creative when I was younger, up until probably about, probably when about 17, I think. I used to do quite a lot of creative things. And that's when I met my now ex-husband. And everything just, I put all of it to one side. I, for whatever reason, just thought, I'm married, you do everything together. Because we got married when I was 21. And I didn't do anything. I did nothing for my creativity. And it showed over the years because if anyone goes on my website, there's a bit of a before and after photograph of what I was like when I wasn't creating. Mm-hmm. And so when we separated, the first thing I did was I signed up for art classes for something to do in the evenings. And it was like somebody had taken the lid off a box that I'd stuffed everything in. And once creativity was back out, there was absolutely no stopping it. It was interesting doing the art classes because the teacher, he had to do a report on us. I mean, bearing in mind, I was like 38 at this point. Mm-hmm. And his report said, acrylics are not Angela's friend.
Oh, no.
And I thought, because I have a certain personality type, which is like, okay, I'll show you. Uh-huh. So because I loved playing with acrylics, it's just what I produced wasn't to his taste. And so I carried on. And I think at that point was when I decided if I ever was in the position of teaching someone else, I wouldn't be that kind of teacher. So no rules, I think, sort of came from that time being told that I actually wasn't good at something. Mm-hmm. And so it just sort of grew from there, especially when I did move to New Zealand. I moved here in 2008. I actually came on a 5-week holiday and didn't go back. And I was here by myself, and the first thing I did was I went to a local art store and bought art supplies and just started painting whatever came through. And it's such an amazingly beautiful place with, this might sound peculiar, it's got big skies. There's lots of space depending where you live, and so for me, and rainbows, loads of rainbows. So for me that was really inspirational to have that. And then from there, what did I do? I discovered Flora Bowley. So originally I used to paint very precise mandalas, so I was still keeping myself a bit small, and I discovered her, I think the book was Brave Intuitive You or something, and I got so excited because I was suddenly going to be painting on a 30 by 30 canvas, and intuitive painting and seeing what comes through, and that from that point on that was it. That was my thing. It's like I couldn't go back to following somebody else's painting lesson. Mm-hmm. Creating, I don't create from photographs or anything like that. I just paint whatever comes through intuitively. And I just feel like it not only made me more creative, but it actually transferred over into the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. Because that idea of letting go of control was so, I'll say slightly addictive, because the idea of painting and allowing yourself to just keep painting over until something comes through, and then realizing that your life is the same. Like every day when you get up, it's like a do-over.
Yeah.
So it might not have been that good yesterday, but it could be better today. Try something different. And the other thing I discovered around control was the more I tried to control something,
Mhm.
it felt like it would vibrate, like the universe would throw things in my direction until I couldn't hold onto the control anymore and I had to let go. And I think over the years with the painting and that realization, I've sort of learned how to let go quicker. I wouldn't say that I don't try and control anything, because I do, but when I catch myself doing it, it's like,
Mhm.
we've been there.
Right.
Yeah. So
Oh,
I credit all of that to my painting. And I think it was 2012, I started teaching other people how to do the same thing, because I did 2 lots of life coach training,
mhm.
and I found that people were more often than not too much in here and not enough down here. And what I discovered was that creativity is where I go when I want to sit in this space. So I, just had to learn how to pull the coaching and the creativity together to help other people. And that's what I've been doing since 2012. So it's great. I love it. I've created this whole world of amazing people that have come through my classes, and they're all sort of still in my orbit, if you like.
Mhm.
Um, so it's great. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's so amazing. You said so many incredible things.
Thank you.
And I really love the lesson that painting has taught you to let go of control and
Mm,
release the idea of perfection.
yeah.
And I can only imagine how healing that was. Like, what a profound
Mm,
self help practice of being able to let go, stop trying to make it perfect. And one of the things I love the most about art, because I'm a brand new artist myself, is how the canvas is such a metaphor for life.
absolutely.
And it's
Yeah.
really cool to get to play with it with the paint and also like create something, and you create something in here. And for someone who's never experienced that, I'm sure they're like, wait, what does that mean?
Mm.
Right? So tell us a little bit about what it means to be an intuitive artist.
I think for me, being an intuitive artist is understanding that I'm not in control of the canvas,
Mhm.
that the canvas will decide what it wants to be, which might sound really weird. But what I say to my students is all you need to decide is what color and what implement, because we don't always paint with paintbrushes. We could be painting with our fingers, bits of string, plants, anything that you can make a mark with. So all they need to decide in the moment is what color and what implement, and just play and let go.
Mhm.
And I feel I feel that if you can do that and you don't put any pressure on the painting,
Mhm.
it becomes whatever it wants to become, because you're allowing yourself to play, and you're taking it away from it needing to look like something or needing it to be a product or something someone else will approve of. It's not about any of that at all. It's just about being in the moment and enjoying what that feels like. It's a bit like being 5 again. You
Yes.
know, nobody, no, I've never ever seen any little child when you put paints and paper down in front of them, they'll go, "Oh, I'm not feeling inspired today."
Yeah, always are.
Yeah, exactly. And they just go for it, and it is what it is. And so I try to bring that kind of thing back into what we learn, which is why we do finger painting and all the things that you would have done when you were a kid, because I'm trying to teach them not to be sensible anymore,
Mm-hmm.
to stop shoulding. It should look like this, or I should be as good as this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like stop bringing that to the studio. And I do honestly feel that when they do that with their painting, it actually transfers to life. And especially in my classes, because we leave, I teach online, but we leave the when we're live, we leave all the mics open so we can talk to each other. So if you hear a comment around, oh, I'm not liking it, or
Mm-hmm.
that sort of shoulding, it's amazing how quickly the students go, we're not going there. Yeah, because we do it unconsciously. We've so good at telling ourselves that we're not good enough or we're not doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, intuitive, like I said, it probably sounds weird, but for me, intuitive art is just recognizing that the canvas is in charge. And I sometimes talk about it like if you imagine creativity as a source that comes down and through you and out through your hand
Mm-hmm.
with like through a paintbrush or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that source, when it's flowing, it's just amazing. It's inspirational. You're just doing what you're doing. And then as soon as you start thinking, should it look like this? Or am I doing it right? Or it's not as good as that person's. It's a bit like you're turning the faucet down.
Yeah.
And then the inspiration is like just dripping out instead of that full force. And then when you let go of all of that and you just open it up again, it's amazing what appears. I
Mm-hmm.
often say that we can't imagine with our puny little earth brains what's going to appear on the canvas.
Mm-hmm.
So if you let go of that and just let the canvas be what it wants to be, it's amazing what comes through.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. So I try to bring all of that to the class, and some people are on different stages of their journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I do, and I think as well, it doesn't even have to be on a canvas.
Mm-hmm.
You can use creativity in all areas of your life. I could be sitting in a cafe with a napkin and a biro, a pen, creating mandalas from my imagination just while I'm sitting there. And even though, it's not going to be something I'm going to sell, it's not a product, it's just to help me with my thought processes. Because while I'm doing that, I'm not attaching to the outcome of my thoughts. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just playing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a bit like meditation. Does this
Yeah.
make sense? Like as if a thought comes in and I can look at it and go and let it go because
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy creating, and I do that quite a bit. I've gone slightly off topic, but anyway.
Love it. I I love.
Yeah, yeah. So it appears for me, it appears in all areas of my life, and I use it in different ways. But I think the biggest thing I use it for is for my own mental health, my sanity,
Yeah.
because otherwise I'm bottling everything up, because we all have really busy lives, so
Mm-hmm.
there's got to be an outlet somewhere to just let all of that go and just be who you are. And I feel creativity is that for me. And if I haven't painted for a week or so, I'm not as nice a person to be
I
around.
yeah.
Yeah, my other half would be like, get in the studio.
I just could totally relate because I I used to do hair for a living. That was my career. And I always wanted to be an artist. Like I was always like, oh, I wish I could sit down and paint a beautiful flower like the one you have behind you.
Yeah.
And I always felt envious of people that could paint. And so about a year and a half ago, I was going through some challenging times with my daughter and her mental health. She was really struggling, and then my husband broke 3 bones and had 2 surgeries back to back.
Wow.
And so we were homebound, and it was a real challenge. And I found this little class and started painting, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was able to like go on a mental vacation while this nightmare of a situation was going on. Hubby couldn't walk, and I did, it was a lot of caretaking. It was taking a lot of my energy, but I got to go on vacation every time I pulled out my paint. And it was like, ah, where has this been my entire life? At 46, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm an artist. Who knew? And I love it. And you're over there like, this is what I get to do for a living. I'm sure you're just amazed at the
Yeah,
stories, right?
I love it. I absolutely love, and I love the fact that you didn't think you were an artist or a creative, but you were styling people's hair.
I know. That was the funniest thing. I'm like, oh my gosh, I used to paint people's hair and cut it. Like I never put it together because I
Yeah,
literally was so caught up in, there was a teacher like you had that said, you're not an artist.
yeah.
And I let that control my life for so many years. And I barely could draw like a stick figure. And even my daughter, when she was little, she's like, Mom, paint me this. I'm like, okay. And she's like, that's terrible. Don't ever paint for me again. So when I was able to let go of this and go
Yeah,
in here,
yeah.
my inner child was like, oh, this is the best thing ever.
I know, isn't it amazing? And the thing about creativity and painting in
Mhm.
particular is it's not something that drains your energy, it's actually something that gives you energy. And
Yes.
there's not many things that we do
Hmm.
that actually give us energy because we lose a lot of energy during the day. So for me, it's like recharging my batteries.
Yes.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that you didn't think you were creative, but you were a hair artist all along anyway.
I know. I
Yeah.
know. It's so funny. I giggle about that, but it's like you
Yeah.
just never know until you try. And
Yeah.
finding the canvas was like the one thing that got me through a very difficult time. My
Yeah.
husband didn't like walk for like 5 months, and it was so stressful. But I
Mm.
had a canvas, and I realized that I had this one epiphany. I was like, oh my gosh, I can go on vacation every day. All I have to do is have a canvas and paint, and I could be in Paris or anywhere in the world. And it was really exciting for me. So, as you
Yeah,
could
it
tell, this
is.
topic of
Yeah.
self care and paint is just, I
Mhm.
feel so passionate about it. So, I
Yeah.
love what you
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, me too. And I think as well, people, another thing to watch out for is like it doesn't have to be the perfect time. And
Hmm.
you don't have to have a long stretch of time to do it. It's not like, right, I need to clear 2 hours in my diary to be able to do it. You can get the benefit in 15 minutes.
Hmm.
I've got a friend, she's got a super busy life, and what she does is she always makes herself a cup of coffee first thing in the morning,
Yeah.
and she's got a watercolor pad and paints beside the kettle.
Hmm.
And what she does is while the kettle's boiling, she basically creates for 5 minutes, and that's her start of the day. And it just sets her up for the rest of the day. Yeah.
Nobody do that. That's a brilliant idea.
Yeah, yeah, because she's standing there waiting for it to boil anyway, so she may as well use that time to do something creative. And
Mhm.
it's just enough to give her that boost before she heads off to work. And I think it's a brilliant idea personally. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna try that tomorrow morning. So one of the first times I ever met you was doing a mandala exercise with you,
Yeah.
and when I learned your practice and what you teach, can you tell everybody about your mandala course? What is the name of it?
Yeah. The I call it painting happiness. I call it painting happiness for two reasons, is
Hmm.
because it makes you really happy when you're doing it,
Yeah.
but also it's about manifesting the things you want to bring into your life.
Hmm.
So painting happiness is really learning how to create mandalas from your own imagination, because a lot of people think that you need to have all the equipment and the compass and it has to be precise and look a certain way. But actually, the best ones I've ever seen are actually just produced from your imagination. And I've been doing this for years now, and I haven't even myself created two that even look like each other. And so I do two different things. First of all, the exercise I did with you
Hmm.
was really to show you that you can draw one from your own imagination and you can do it anywhere at any time.
Yeah.
And then the next stage is we actually paint one from your
Mm.
imagination on a whichever size canvas you want it to be on. And at that point, I like them, or I invite them to put into the canvas all the things that either they're already grateful for, that they've already got, or whatever they want to bring in. Because I believe that when you hang that painting on the wall, that energy comes back to you, and your subconscious knows what's in the painting. And
Hmm.
it's a little bit like, you know, we create vision boards and we might have the house and the car and the boat and everything on it. It's a little bit like that, but it's just all of the energy of how you want to feel is in that painting. And
Hmm.
then you put it on the wall and your subconscious goes, I know what that means. And then when those things come along, it goes, yes, I'll have that. And so for me, that's what painting happiness is all about. It's that combination of letting go, creating a mandala from your own imagination without having to know what it's going to look like. And then when you hang it up, you get all the benefit of everything you painted in it.
Look
You
that up.
can't lose.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
love that.
So yeah, it's sort of I call it like my entry level,
Hmm.
because what they're learning is letting go of perfectionism and comparison and just trusting in themselves. And they're also learning about the materials, because you need to learn a little bit about how the paint works, but
Yeah.
nothing too difficult. And then from there, I have people that go on and work with me on Dream Big, Paint Big, which is painting on a really big canvas. And that one is like the next step up, because
Hmm.
we don't have a subject in mind. We're not painting a mandala this time.
Hmm.
We're actually just going to see what's going to come through. And so that I absolutely love that, because once someone's gone through that course, there's no going back. There's
Hmm.
there's no standing in front of a canvas thinking, oh, I don't know what I'm going to paint. Well, actually, no, you don't know what you're going to paint, because Source is going to tell you,
Hmm.
because it's just going to come through. Yeah, so it's a bit of a journey, but yeah, I hope I explained that.
Oh, no, you definitely did, and I think it sounds
Hmm.
really magical, just the name of it. I'm like, "Oh, sign me up. This sounds amazing."
Yeah,
And just doing that mandala exercise I did with you, and what you shared about, like, put your intention in it, and actually, like, use the letters of the word. And
yeah.
I remember doing that, and I wrote the word flow,
Oh,
and it was so exciting to see it just kind of like happen.
yeah.
And I still look at it now and I'm like, "Oh, I love this so much."
Mhm.
And I found myself in like the drive-through or waiting somewhere with a little napkin, like you were saying, just making a little mandala. And it's just so fun. And it makes the time go by, but also like it gives my inner child, my heart, so much joy.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, actually, sometimes I leave them as well for the waitress or whoever. If you're sitting in a cafe, I just leave it on the table,
Oh,
and that feels quite good, because you're sort of giving away a little bit of your art as well.
mhm.
But yeah, I love that you got that from that, because the idea of that mandala is you start off with the little seed in the middle, and then you have your word, and it just grows and grows and grows and grows. And the idea is it sort of expands out into your life. So for you, flow wasn't contained just in that piece of paper. It was like, how do I bring that into the rest of my life? That's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love it. And it's a lesson. It's like, okay, well, not every day or every moment I feel so in flow, but that was just such a beautiful meditative,
yeah,
easy exercise for me to
yeah,
do.
yeah.
And I really, really was thankful to get to be a part of that class. Thank
Thank
you.
you. And I think as well, even if, like you just said, you're not in that state every day, but you know how to get there. So
Yes.
when you catch yourself,
Hmm.
I think that's half the thing, isn't it? Is if you
Yeah.
catch yourself thinking, oh, I'm feeling stressed or anxious, or
Yeah.
what's going on? How do I get out of this? Oh, I know where to go.
Hmm.
For me, that's amazing. And it's free.
It's free and it's so healing.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I was having one of those moments when I was definitely not feeling in flow, feeling super stressed out. And I was like, okay. And I started putting a little like art pack in my car so I could be inspired anywhere I go. So I went to the park with my dog, took a walk with a little art journal and little paints and whatnot. And um, after he was done walking, I sat down on a picnic bench, a table, and just painted and journaled and released. And like all of a sudden, this beautiful painting came through, and I left the park like, woohoo! I could conquer the world, and it was just a random
Yeah.
little thing that I did, but it was so transformative. So.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? And you can carry that with you everywhere. And you
Mhm.
don't need to spend a heap of money on supplies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
You could just have a notebook and a pen, but
exactly.
a little watercolor set or something like that. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to have all the things. We like to have all the things,
Oh yeah.
but we don't have to have all the things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I was
Yeah.
thinking you could even just have colored pens or your kids' crayons or colored
Yeah.
pencils or anything. Just a pencil could be a nice little thing to create art
Yeah.
with. So
Absolutely.
uh,
Yeah.
such
Rather than sit and be on your phone, which is very easy to do when we're sitting scrolling through Instagram. And somebody said something to me. It was another artist at some point. Was if you're spending all your time looking at other people's art, you're not creating your own. And
hmm.
it's great to get inspiration from other artists, but I find that I need to switch off from that
Hmm.
to be able to create my own. And to the point where I stopped following certain artists on their email lists, not because I didn't want to hear what they were doing, but it was impacting myself because I was getting into that should. Like, I should be doing what they're doing. Why don't my paintings look like theirs? And all the things that I teach other people to steer away from. So the
Hmm.
best thing I found was not to sign up to their newsletters. I do still see some of them on social media, and that's great.
Yeah.
But it's not in my face all the time. But it's that thing of, if we're sitting scrolling, we're not really getting the benefit for ourselves. The benefit is what you described, which
Hmm.
is the sitting down at the park bench and giving it a go and creating something, and that boost of energy you get. Whereas when you're sitting on your phone and you're just scrolling and you're looking at reels and stuff, you're consuming, you're not creating, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. Yeah.
It does. I feel like doing that, at least for myself, and maybe other people aren't aware, but it feels like I so numb myself and my ability to receive that intuition and calm. I feel like I'm on my phone, numbing out. Now I do it just like everybody else,
Mm.
but I've learned to turn it off
Yeah.
and tune in and practice my own self care. But I really
Mm.
find when I'm numbing out on my phone, the hours pass by and I'm still feeling as miserable as I was before.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
And you end up as well comparing yourself,
oh yeah.
because that's just the highlight reels of
Mhm,
people's lives. It's not all the struggle and all the rest of it. So it
mhm.
potentially is sort of in a worse position than when you sat down to scroll. Yeah, yeah. I'm guilty myself of doing it. Like you said, I catch myself and go, oh, no, need to stop this now. I need
Yeah,
to go do something for myself.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's such a beautiful thing to be able to do that, and I love that that's what you teach people to
yeah,
do, and
yeah,
your
yeah.
everyday practice is it's amazing. So, you have a gift to share with our audience. Will you talk a little bit about that and share where they can find
Um,
it?
Yeah, I've got a three-part video, which is around for anyone who is already painting,
Hmm.
or would like to learn how to create their own color palette.
Mm.
Um, so often you look at other artists and you go, like, they just know how to use color. They know how it all works.
Hmm.
Um, I wouldn't even know where to start. This three-part video just actually shows you that you already have the answers of what your intuitive color palette are. And so it just really takes you through a process. And then at the end, you end up with sort of color swatches that when you start painting and you're sort of a little bit stuck and you don't know what to do next, you can use these, go, oh, yeah, that would go really nice with that. So that you can find on my website, which is angela-murray.com. That's MURRAY.com. So you'll find it on there under my courses. It's free, yeah, if you just want to sign up. There is also something if you're not a creative, which I'm not going to agree with, but we'll say that you're not creative. I have something called 7 days to meet your inner artist.
Oh,
It's like a creative adventure to meet your inner artist, and you'll find that on my website as well. So if you're not feeling that you're at the stage of finding out what your color palette is, and you just want to dip your toe in the water, by the end of the 7 days, you'll have created your own painting from your own imagination. So definitely, I would definitely say check that one out as well.
oh, get them both and go on a creative journey. Your inner child will be so happy, and I'm
Yeah.
100% confident that it'll change your life. As soon as you let go of the expectation and the perfectionism, something magical happens. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I'm gonna,
absolutely. And they'll definitely learn that on the 7 day to meet your inner artist.
mm,
There's no perfectionism in there. Actually, what I'm teaching, it's pretty hard to be perfect, so that's good.
yes, that's
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good.
yeah. So they'll
Mm.
find both of those under the courses tab on my website, and they're there for free.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much. Thank you so much for joining us today and
okay.
sharing all of your wisdom. And it's just been such a fun conversation. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Angela. And everybody else, tune in tomorrow. We are going to continue the conversations in the summit. And I just really thank you all for being here today. Thank you. And we will talk soon.